The Packers had every opportunity to win, even without Jordan Love. They couldn't do it. They couldn't help themselves. They beat themselves once again. No one beats the Packers like the Packers.
You are Locked On Packers, your daily Green Bay Packers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
You are Locked On Packers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm Peter Bukowski, and I cover the Packers for The Leap, a newsletter I would love for you to subscribe to. Follow me on the socials, follow the podcast on the socials, but subscribe wherever you get podcasts. You will find Locked On Packers, the number one Packers podcast on the internet, and the show for fans who know what happened. They want to know why and how. Thanks to everyone who makes Locked On Packers their first listen every day. We hope you like starting your day with us as much as we like starting our day with you. Today's episode brought to you by our friends at FanDuel. If you want to be right in the middle of the action this season, visit FanDuel.com and place your live NFL bets all season long. I don't care that Jordan Love didn't play in this game because the game was won. You had the game won. In the fourth quarter, you got a double-digit lead. I don't care if I'm playing quarterback. You have the game won. All you have to do, if you're Romeo Doubs, is fall on the football. And you can't do it. And it is kind of been that kind of season for Romeo Doubs. He had an opportunity earlier in the game, ball in his hand, a little fade ball right to him, can't make the play. The Packers in the red zone beat themselves over and over and over. They finish in the game. In the game, 0-for-5 in the red zone. They get to the red zone five times, and they go 0-for-5. Josh Jacobs fumbles. That costs you at least 3 in a game that goes to overtime. You turn the ball over on downs. Now, tough play. Didn't love the play call. Was fine with the decision to go on fourth down. These are things that just can't happen. They just can't happen. Xavier McKinney drops an interception, leads to a 3-point drive for the Bears. Romeo Doubs fumbles, leads to 7 points for the Chicago Bears. In a game where it goes to overtime, your own mistakes give the other team 10 points. 10 points. Like, this defense without Micah Parsons played great, except for the handful of situations where they didn't. Overtime being one of them. And like, I can't even blame the overtime. You go for it on fourth down, totally fine with the decision to go for it on fourth down. You trust that your center and your quarterback can get the exchange right. But that is a backup quarterback. And it's a backup center too, with a backup running back. Like, the Packers were so banged up. The game never should have gotten to that point. The game should have been over. If Romeo Doubs just rolls over on the football, there's, a minute 56 left, and the Bears have 2 timeouts. So worst case scenario, you're giving the ball back to the Bears, down 7, presumably in the opposite end of the field, with, if you can get, 5-8 seconds on the first play, 5-8 seconds on the second play, and then you burn the whole 40. You're talking about less than a minute to go the length of the field with no timeouts. You have a real, and 1 first down ends the game. The Bears didn't get a stop all day. You lose a game when Daniel Whelan spends the day on the bench Daniel Williams spends the day kicking into a net. You score 16 points because you keep tripping over your own dicks in the red zone. It doesn't matter if Jordan Love is playing. Jordan Love playing or not does not affect Josh Jacobs fumbling the ball inside the 5-yard line. If he's hurt, get him off the field. What is he doing out there? It was so obvious Emmanuel Wilson looked like the better player in this game. What are you doing? It doesn't make any sense. I don't understand this team. Because, like, if Jordan Love plays this whole game, why am I supposed to think it's going to end any differently? Like, theoretically, a game that goes to overtime with Malik Willis, that you lose in overtime, like, no harm, no foul with your backup quarterback. It's not really that big a deal in terms of the quality of this team, right? Except that's not true. Because the reason it went to overtime had nothing to do with Jordan Love. Now, if Jordan Love is out there, maybe they punch a couple more of the drives where Malik Willis is out there in for touchdowns than they did. But they were struggling in the red zone even with Jordan Love. This is one of the best red zone teams in the NFL this season. And when we talked on the preview show, and when we talked on, I did my social breakout on the keys to victory, I said, win the turnover battle. The Packers didn't. And win situational football, the red zone, 0-4-5. What's crazy is the Bears in this game go 2 for 11 on third down. You go 6 for 12 on third down. Like, the defense situationally played really well. If the offense just is like mediocre in the red zone, even without Jordan Love, the Packers win by 2 touchdowns, 10 points. They should have won by 10 points anyway. That's what is so frustrating about this team. Is this was not about what the Bears did. This was not about what the Bears did. It was everything about what the Packers did. Romeo Doubs just biffs the ball. Just biffs the ball. If Romeo Doubs just catches the ball, the Packers are probably going to win. Bears hadn't gotten a stop all day. All day. Not really. I mean, the Packers got first downs on every single drive. Multiple first downs on every single drive. They were going to get a stop here? No, they weren't. They weren't. The game was going to be over. The Packers were going to win. They were going to be first place in the NFC North. And now they are staring down the barrel. Now they have to win out, but Ravens game is not going to be easy. Who knows if Jordan Love is going to be able to play? If they have to play with Malik Willis, this could all go sideways in a hurry for the Green Bay Packers. They had this game won even without Jordan Love. They had this game won with Malik Willis, which, by the way, Bears fans are going to celebrate this, and they won. Like, the win counts. There's no doubt. They're at the top of the NFC North. They're probably going to win the division now. Congratulations on beating the Packers' backup quarterback. But the Packers are the reason that the Bears won this game, not the Bears. The Bears did not do anything particularly special in this game. They really didn't. I didn't think Caleb Williams played particularly well. Great throw at the end for the touchdown, but, like, he missed plenty of throws in this game. It wasn't like he was slicing and dicing the Packers defense. Not at all. Missed 16 points. And they needed a touchdown in the fourth quarter off an onside kick just to get to 16. I know they had their own fourth down issues and Ben Johnson gets a little galaxy brain, but, like, this Packers team is, to me, clearly better than the Bears. But they insist on doing stupid stuff. They insist on just the most inexcusable mistakes at the most inexcusable times. And at a certain point, that does reflect on the head coach. Rich Bisaccia, special teams, congratulations. You've done it again. You cost the Packers a win, but, like, this is Josh Jacobs fumbling in the red zone. This is Xavier McKinney dropping an interception for the second week in a row. A Xavier McKinney drop turns into points for the opponent. Just catch the ball when they throw it to you. And the Packers couldn't do it. They couldn't do it. These are your best players. These are your core players. Xavier McKinney was an all-pro last year. Josh Jacobs is a Pro Bowl caliber player. He was the third best running back in the NFL last year. It was Saquon. It was Derrick Henry. It was Josh Jacobs. Okay, you want to throw Jahmyr Gibbs in there? Okay, fine. Josh Jacobs was top 4, top 5 with Bijan Robinson. If you want to just like be overly generous to everybody. I know he's hurt, but you can't just cover the ball up. You can't fumble in a situation like that. And then Romeo Doubs, who's supposed to be your most reliable receiver, who caught a touchdown pass in this game from Malik Willis. All he has to do is not worry about getting hit. When the ball hits his hands, fall on it, and the game is basically over. Instead, the Packers are looking at the 7 seed. And by the way, they're looking at having to go play this team again at Soldier Field in 3 weeks. Now, by the way, that does not scare me at all. At all. In fact, I think the Packers, frankly, would relish the opportunity. And I'll be honest, I will be on. If that happens, the Packers get the 7 seed. And they got to go to Chicago to play the Bears in Chicago. I promise you, I will pick the Packers. And I'm telling you right now, the Packers are going to win. Bears fans get mad in the comments. That's fine. But that's what's going to happen because this Packers team is better. The red zone stuff has got to change, though. The red zone stuff has got to change. We'll talk about it next. Car shopping should feel exciting, not confusing. And with CarGurus, you get the confidence you deserve. They cut through all the noise so you can actually see the best deals on the cars you want. Because when it comes to a big purchase, you deserve the best deal. And CarGurus makes that whole process simple by giving you real information, real deal ratings, and more listings than anyone else. So you can shop the way you want. Use CarGurus deal ratings to compare cars quickly without having to guess whether the price is fair. Having verified dealerships and upfront pricing makes the whole thing feel transparent and stress-free. CarGurus connects you with trusted dealerships for a transparent and hassle-free buying process. With over 4 million listings, most of the major online automotive marketplaces, you'll always find the best deals. Shop the way you want with the tools, data, and unbiased deal ratings that make it easy. Buy or sell your next car at CarGurus.com. That's CarGurus, CarGurus.com, CarGurus.com. Thanks for making Locked On Packers your first listen, and thanks for making Locked On the #1 sports network. If you're already listening to us, why don't you go check out the Everydayer Club? Access to ad-free audio feeds for Locked On Packers, compatible with iTunes, with Spotify, every other major podcast app. Plus, you get an invite to the members-only Locked On Everydayer Club Discord server, which includes a group chat just for listeners of the show. And guess what? Locked On Packers already creating one of the biggest Everydayers Club on the Locked On Podcast Network. So go to lockedonpackers.supercast.com or tap the link in the show notes to learn more. It was the red zone again. 0 for 5 in the red zone. And it started, you marched the ball down the field with the help of some penalties. And on 4th and 1, you end up having to throw a contested out route to Christian Watson. In the first game against the Bears, Matt LaFleur had just read Dennis Allen's mail. They knew what they were going to get. They knew the situations. They knew everything that they were going to get, and they just had all the answers. They didn't in this game situationally. But you have to have a better play call in that situation. Like, I understand you want to try and score. That felt overly aggressive in terms of the play call. Play action, get Jordan Love on the move, give yourself a chance to actually convert in a situation like that. And Green Bay just didn't do it. The next drive, 14 plays. They go 70 yards. They go down the field. It's 3rd and goal. Sure, did the wind affect that throw? I think it probably did. But I think he missed his spot. I think he missed Watson. That ball's got to be low and inside. It's just a little pivot route with the linebacker. It's kind of like actually an old school like button hook. And if Love just throws it away from it's Christian Watson against the linebacker. Just throw the ball away from the linebacker. I think the wind got it a little bit, but we're talking about a 15, 20-yard throw with Love's velocity. The ball is not going to move that much. Love clearly missed his spot in that situation. Next drive. That's the one where Jordan Love gets hurt. They drive the ball all the way down the field. All the way down the field. Malik Willis gives Romeo Doubs on 1st and goal at the 5 an opportunity to go make a play. Has the ball right in his hands. Can't finish it. Sound familiar? It was a theme. They got to settle for a field goal. It's 1st and goal at the 5. They've got to settle for a field goal. Pass, 1-yard run, pass, and you kick. It's 6-3. You have marched the ball all the way down the field, and it feels like if you can score, you can put the game out of reach. That's the way the Packers defense was playing. That's the way the Packers offense was rolling. It's 1st and goal at the 4-yard line. It's not like it's 3rd and goal and you're going to settle for a field goal anyway. It's 1st and goal at the 4. And Josh Jacobs fumbles. Josh Jacobs fumbles. Not Emmanuel Wilson, not Chris Brooks, not Bo Melton, not John Fitzpatrick. Josh Jacobs, the guy that you brought in and paid a lot of money to score touchdowns for you. He's the guy that fumbled. These are your best players. This just can't happen. Romeo Doubs is supposed to be the guy in the red zone. That's what he is. That's what he does. In fact, at this point, that's like the only utility, frankly, that I see. He can't make the play. Josh Jacobs, it is automatic inside the 5-yard line for Josh Jacobs and the Packers offense. They're going to score inside the 5-yard line. They can't. You're up 13-6. You get down. Now, this is a little different. You're inside the 15. Packers didn't really have a great chance on that drive to score. They get into good position. Can't really do much. Little push pass to Jaden Reed. They don't get a lot out of that on 3rd and 6. They have a screen. Still, now it's 16-6. 5 minutes left in the 4th quarter. And the Bears totally botch the end of the game situation. They totally botch it. They let the field goal run all the way down to 2 minutes. You get the ball back with less than 2 minutes. You have to win. It's 1 first down for you to win the game if you can just get the onside kick. It didn't even, frankly, occur to me that they were going to kick an onside. It apparently didn't occur to Romeo Doubs either. And I suppose it should have occurred to me. I just thought, okay, well, they'll try and get a stop. Because if you kick it onside and the Packers get the ball, it's 10 yards and you're in field goal range to salt the game away. Or 1 first down and the game is over anyway. Now maybe that's why you kick the onside, and that makes sense. So even with you go 0 for 5 in the red zone. Even with all of that, you have an opportunity to make 1 play in the 4th quarter. Just catch the onside kick. And you can't do it. Rich Bisaccia, what is it you say you do here exactly? Do they practice that? Have they ever practiced that? Has Romeo Doubs ever taken an onside kick in practice? Didn't look like it. And then you had Romeo Doubs hurt his wrist. Yeah, okay. No, Romeo Doubs cost you the game and you didn't want to put him out there. And I don't need to see him the rest of the season. I'll be totally honest. I don't. Christian Watson's good enough. I'd love to see more Matthew Golden, Jaden Reed, Dontavian Wicks. I don't need to see Romeo Doubs again. I don't. Because now you're going to have to fight and claw and scratch. And I don't want Jordan Love to think he can just throw jump balls to Romeo Doubs, because how can you trust him to make those plays? You can't. You can't. It's gobsmacking to lose a game like this. It is not as, of course, catastrophic because of the circumstances. But it feels like 2014. Because with Malik Willis, you don't expect to win. So if I had told you Malik Willis is going to come in the second quarter of the Bears game, again, by the way, Bears have still yet to beat a Matt LaFleur Packers team when their starting quarterback starts and finishes the game. But you played well enough to win. Until you didn't. Until an onside kick cost you everything. Everything. I mean, from the 7 seed where you will not get a single home game to a 2 seed where you're guaranteeing yourself at least 2 home games in the postseason. 1 onside kick recovery, 1 fumble in the red zone, 1 Jordan Love concussion. And your season is now on fumes. I still think the Packers are as good as any team in the NFC. But because they can't get out of their own way, their path to doing that has just gotten a lot harder. I thought the defense fought its ass off in this game, and I want to talk about them next on Locked On Packers. Today's episode brought to you by our friends at FanDuel. NFL Sundays move fast. One big play, and suddenly everything feels different. That's what makes live betting with FanDuel so exciting. You're not just watching the game, you're reacting to it in real time. With FanDuel, you can place live bets as the action unfolds. Every drive, every momentum swing, every highlight moment. Live betting is at its best when the game starts to shift. A receiver gets hot, a defense tightens up, or the momentum flips after a turnover. FanDuel lets you jump into every moment with live spreads and money lines that adjust instantly. Player props that update as guys heat up. You can bet next touchdown scores, drive results, totals, and more. It keeps you locked into every snap, every drive, every possibility. So if you want to be right in the middle of the action this season, visit FanDuel.com and place your NFL live bets all season long. FanDuel, the game moves fast, and so can you. The final numbers will not say that the Packers defense played well. And the final numbers are wrong. Ultimately, the Chicago Bears have 400 yards of total offense, 6.7 yards per play. You guys know I believe in the stats. You know I believe in that kind of stuff. Those stats are telling a damn lie. A lie. The Bears got shut out in the first half. Shut out. I know they moved the ball on the first drive and they have the fumble on 4th down. That was 1 drive. Well, they only had it, I think, 3 or 4 times. They had 3 points through 3 quarters. They had 187 total yards through 3 quarters. Now, they put up a bunch of yards in the 4th quarter in overtime, obviously. You're talking about, 213 yards in the 4th quarter in overtime. But that's what I mean. The Packers defense ran out of gas. And it was up to the Packers offense to have scored in some of these red zone opportunities to put the game out of reach. The Packers defense overall played well enough to win. They played well enough to win. It was the offense that ultimately let the defense down. And without Micah Parsons, that just can't happen. Like the defense, Jeff Hafley, they did everything they needed to do. Now, on the game-tying touchdown, you got a little bit of a defensive miscommunication. All-out pressure. You have Hobbs and Nixon. Hobbs is in there because Evan Williams is out, so they moved Javon Bullard to safety. Javon Bullard was outstanding in this game. They didn't miss Evan Williams as a safety at all. But what they missed is the combination of Evan Williams and Javon Bullard. because Javon Bullard is really freaking good. And Evan Williams is really freaking good. And those guys together are just better than whatever you're getting from Nate Hobbs and Javon Bullard. And Hobbs and Nixon can't pass it off. And this is what happened. Go back to the last game that these two teams played. Evan Williams was actually wrong on the coverage on the interception. The game-sealing play, Evan Williams is supposed to have Cole Kmet. But he attacks on Caleb. Keyshawn Nixon falls off and gets the interception. This time, a little miscommunication. Caleb on an all-out pressure. Jeff Hafley more than doubled his pressure rate for the season in this game. It worked for much of the game. Caleb just makes a great throw at the end to tie it. And I thought Ben Johnson should have gone for it. That was the thing that I was most concerned about from a Packers perspective, is like, they're going to try and win the game now, because at home, I mean, I guess on the road is when you're more likely to do it because you don't want to play in overtime. So at home against a backup quarterback, you feel like you can win in OT. But the Packers had walked down the field every time they got the ball. They didn't punt. I don't think either team punted in this. The Bears did, but Romeo Doubs didn't actually return it. It's a weird game. Truly a weird game. And it came down to the turnovers. The Packers had the fumble, the onside kick loss, but they got, like, the Bears out-penaltied them by more than double. Stupid, dumb penalties. The Packers out-possessed them by over 12 minutes. Like a whole quarter, the Packers out-possessed them. And that should have made this defense a little bit fresher. And at the end, they just kind of ran out of gas. But part of that is because your offense in the red zone has got to be able to score some touchdowns. You have to be able to score some touchdowns in those moments. That's on Matt LaFleur. It's on the quarterback play, but it's also on your star players. It's on Josh Jacobs. It's on Xavier McKinney, red zone defense. That wasn't in the red zone, but it ends up being like a red zone play. You have the opportunity to kill a drive, and it ends in a field goal in a game that goes to overtime. If that doesn't happen, Packers win. If he catches the interception, Packers probably win. If Josh Jacobs doesn't fumble, they probably score, and the Packers probably win. Like, the Packers were the better team. And they lost because they didn't play like the better team in situational football. The Bears did. And it is frustrating when you go through the years, over the last couple of years, with Matt LaFleur and his teams, and you sweep the Lions. They were always situationally so nails. The Vikings, situationally so nails. They're so well coached. Ben Johnson, this team is really well coached. Did the Packers look well coached today? I mean, I thought Matt LaFleur called a pretty good game, had them ready to go, did everything he needed to do with Malik Willis as the quarterback. I thought he seems to love calling the game with Malik Willis out there because he can get all the slop runs and all the interesting exotics, and he can call zone read, and he can get to his play action stuff. I thought they could have used Malik Willis's legs more. I thought on the fourth down at the end, that could have been shotgun. That could have been zone read. Get Malik Willis on the edge. One block, and you might score a touchdown. But by and large, like, this is a Packers team. They had enough to win. What's crazy is they had enough to win with their backup quarterback. And their best players could not get it done. I thought Rashawn Gary played his butt off in this game. He was very disruptive. Javon Bullard was really disruptive. Quay Walker made some big plays. Xavier McKinney couldn't come through. Keyshawn Nixon had some opportunities. Carrington Valentine. You need your guys to step up. Where was Edgerrin Cooper? Did not make enough plays in this game, but you had a defense playing shorthanded out there. Lucas Van Ness gets a big holding call that leads to a punt. Warren Brinson, I mean, that's the game. If Warren Brinson doesn't grab Caleb Williams' face mask, the game's probably over. That's just it is. They're better. They're better. And they couldn't get out of their own way. They could not get out of their own way. And it still took a Bears miracle to get the win. But they got it. And now the Packers are fighting for their lives. They're fighting for their lives. Thanks for tuning into Locked On Packers. Make sure you subscribe and follow Locked On Packers so you get all the latest episodes. If you need a last-minute holiday gift or someone keeps asking what you want, make it easy. Ask for the Everydayer Club. Ad-free episodes of this show, exclusive Discord server access, and more subscriptions can be gifted through LockedOnPackers.supercast.com. For those of you on video, we send you to our Locked On Packers squad show. Another 60 minutes here. Yeah, we got to do another 60 more minutes here of Locked On Packers. The post-game show on audio. Make sure you make your second listen Locked On NFL. Or guess what? You could listen to the squad show so you can stay Locked On Packers.